Hello and welcome back to the 9th Annual Online ADHD Awareness Expo. My name is Coach Lynne Edris, and in just a moment I'm going to talk with you about my 3 keys to consistent productivity. I think this is my 5th year as a presenter at the Expo, and I'm so excited to be here, both as an ADHD expert speaker, but also as a woman with ADHD myself and mom to a young man with ADHD. This expo always has such great information, and I love watching the other presenters and hearing what they have to say and how they do things, how they frame things. And I love meeting with participants in the chat room. So keep an eye out for me there this month. I'll pop in and out as I can. And I also want to remind you to stop by the online exhibit hall. And don't forget to sign up for your free virtual goodie bag filled with surprise gifts from the ADHD Awareness Expo speakers and sponsors as well. So don't forget to sign up. There's good stuff in there. So again, my name is Lynne Edris, and for those of you who don't know me, I am a productivity and ADHD coach, and I'm also co-host of the ADHD Support Talk Radio podcast with Kara McGillicuddy, our host here at the Expo. So as a productivity coach for more than a decade, I've helped overwhelmed professionals reduce procrastination, improve time management, and get more done with less effort so that they have more time, more energy, and more money for what they love most. As a woman with ADHD myself, I've been where so many of my clients are, where so many of you are right now. And I've come out the other side, so to speak. You know, I've gone from living a life of constant chaos and stress and underperformance to a life of much more success and fulfillment. And I don't tell you that like to toot my own horn or to make you think that I'm smarter than you are, but really honestly to give you hope, because I know you can share the same success. If I can do it, anybody can do it, right? I am no smarter or different than anybody else who's watching these videos. But you can learn more about me and what I do and the programs and services I offer at my website, and that's www.coachingaddvantages.com. That's Coaching Advantages with 2 Ds. It's a little play on words. And when you sign up on my website or text the keyword hack, H-A-C-K, to 444-999, I'll send you my 7 foolproof productivity hacks to help you add hours of free time to your week by investing just a few smart minutes each day. So if you've ever heard me speak before, you know I always say that your ADHD is as unique as your thumbprint. Every single one of us struggles with different things. We have different personalities, different tendencies, different strengths. And your ADHD is going to show up much differently than mine. And my son's ADHD shows up much differently than mine does as well. But one thing that's consistent across all the people with ADHD who have come to me for help over this last 11, 12 plus years I've been in coaching is their struggle with consistency. You know, we often say that the only thing consistent about ADHD is inconsistency. So in this video, I'm going to give you my 3 keys to consistent productivity, and I hope you find something in here that helps you. Now, productivity is my specialty in my private coaching practice, but I want to throw one thing at you right away. Even though I'm a productivity and ADHD coach and my focus is on productivity, I don't believe at all that we should focus on improving productivity just for the sake of improving productivity. I think productivity is a vehicle to greater things, and I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But it's also important for you to understand that productivity isn't a single skill. It isn't even a single system. What it takes to be really productive is sort of a complex set of systems and tools and behaviors and ways of doing things that need to all come together well, seamlessly, for us to work well and to be consistently productive. I often use the metaphor of like an assembly line, right? So my husband works in automation, so this is the one I always go to. But if you think about an assembly line, right, there are a whole set of processes that need to line up. They need to happen just at the right time and at the right speed and in sequence with one another for the assembly line to stay in operation, right? It's kind of like the gears in a clock. If every gear has to move at the right speed and be in the right position, or the whole thing grinds to a halt. And that's what we know about productivity, right? So I'm going to give you, again, my 3 keys to consistent productivity. And these are sort of bigger picture things, but get you thinking about those, you know, those gears, those pieces and parts that impact your productivity. Number 1 of my 3 keys is to work with what I call your UOS, and I'll talk about each one of these in greater detail in a second. Next is to start every day with a roadmap, a GPS for your day. Okay, that's number 2. And number 3 is automate everything. So number 1 is work with your UOS. Number 2 is start every day with a roadmap. And number 3 is automate everything. So what I mean by work with your UOS, and it's a term that I've coined, and UOS stands for your unique operating system. So what comprises your UOS, or your unique operating system, is how you process information, how you do things naturally, what already works for you, your natural ebb and flow of energy, focus and mental and physical energy. And these are your unique strengths. And again, I call them your unique operating system, or your UOS. And I believe each one of us is born to be successful in different ways, right? For each of us has unique ways of processing information, for example. So naturally, some of us are more verbal processors. So we function best when we talk things out. Some of us tend toward auditory processing, while others are going to have a stronger tendency toward visual processing. Others are going to be more kinesthetic, so they're going to benefit more from movement and touch and experiential processing, and so on and so on and so on. And I can't go into great depth on processing styles, but understanding yours is essential to being able to figure out what systems, what tools, and what approaches are going to work best for you consistently. Similarly, each of us has our own natural tendencies in how we organize information and how we organize our physical surroundings, the stuff around us, right? So each one of us has different tendencies and habits as well. And all of these things come together to comprise what I call, again, your unique operating system, or your UOS. And learning how to work with your UOS is always going to take much less effort. It's always going to be much easier than trying to work with someone else's way of doing things. So it's going to be much easier to be consistent for the long haul when you have to put less effort in to be consistent. So uncovering what works for you naturally, your natural strengths, your natural tendencies, and applying those strengths and tendencies to those areas where you're challenged is our focus in productivity and ADHD coaching. I hope that makes sense. Again, I'll be in the chat room. You can visit my website and contact me to ask specific questions on any of this stuff, right? So that's number 1, work with your UOS. Number 2 is start every day with a roadmap. So I want you to have a GPS for your day every day. And this is so important for my clients with ADHD, right? Our executive functions are challenged. We know that, right? Deciding what to do next, all of that mental processing that goes into having to make a decision about what actions to take, what your priorities are, those are really executive function intensive tasks, and they really burn a lot of brain power, right? Activation is getting started. That's also a really executive function energy intensive task. So deciding what you're going to do, prioritizing and figuring out what your actions are for the day, or what your next actions are, take a lot of mental energy, but they take the same kind of mental energy that getting started does, that activation does. So one of the things that helps my clients and helps me tremendously is doing what I call separating the doing from the deciding. So when you decide in advance what your steps are for the day, what your actions are for the day, you have that sort of roadmap for yourself. You know what you're doing next. It's a lot easier to get started because you're not wearing yourself out mentally, which feels like wearing yourself out physically, by doing all of that deciding at the same time. This is an essential productivity foundation that will keep you performing and following through consistently over time. So number 1, again, is work with your UOS, right? Work with your unique operating system, your strengths, your talents, your natural tendencies. And number 2 is to start every day with a roadmap or a GPS for the day, so that you're separating the doing from the deciding, and it makes it easier to actually take action and follow through consistently. Number 3 is to automate everything, right? In other words, let routine, let repetition, let habit be your salvation. Be a cognitive miser. That's a term that productivity experts use when we're talking about saving your mental energy, saving your cognition, saving your thinking, saving your brain power for the important stuff. Automate and create routines for everything that you can. And if it happens daily, weekly, or monthly, create a routine to automate it. Create a rhythm to your days and to your weeks. Don't waste your valuable brain power and focus looking for your keys, deciding what to cook, deciding when to file your expense report, or what to-dos to tackle next. You can create rhythm and routine for everything. And the more you do that for the things that are not like one-off or just one-time tasks, the more mental energy it's going to save you for important stuff, creativity, idea generation, and of course, actually doing those to-dos consistently. This is a huge one for me. The more I have automated as a routine and a habit, I call it, the more I have a rhythm for things, the more templates I have of different kinds, the less I actually have to put on my to-do list and in my calendar. And that keeps me from being less overwhelmed, and it keeps me from having my energy sapped. But I do have one more really important essential key for productivity that's, it really is foundational. And it's one most people want to skip, but I'll tell you right now, it's huge. And that's number 4. I know I said 3, but I have to add a 4th one. Sorry, Tara. The most important key of all, in my opinion, is your deeper reason. And I had to add this to give you a heads up so that you don't make the mistake so many others do. No matter what, don't skip this part. I know it sounds sort of woo-woo and out there and coachy, but hang in with me for just a minute. Again, as I said earlier, even as a productivity and ADHD coach, I don't believe in focusing on productivity just for the sake of getting the most stuff done, right? I don't think of a focus on productivity just for productivity's sake is something that works for too many of us, because it's really not very motivating. So I believe that productivity is, and it needs to be thought of as a vehicle to something much more important to you and much more motivating to you than simply crossing stuff off some to-do list, as much off a to-do list in any given day as you can. Improved productivity as a vehicle to something bigger, to more time, more energy, more money, for what's more important to you, for freedom. And if you don't get to what that more important stuff is for you, you're probably going to continue to struggle. And this is going to be different for each of us. This is one of the things I dig at really hard with my clients when we first start working together. For some of us, it's going to be more time, more energy, the ability to be fully present with the people that we care about when we're with them, our families, our friends, to foster those deeper connections. For some of us, it's going to be more time, more energy, more money, and more freedom to explore and follow our passions for things like travel or entrepreneurship. For others, it's more time and energy to devote to bettering our communities, bettering ourselves, being involved in charitable organizations. It could be as simple as more creative outlets for you if that's something that's important to you, like painting and writing and quilting and sewing and woodworking and gardening or playing an instrument or singing. That's one of my deeper reasons, right? Whatever it is for you, getting in touch with your deeper reasons for improving productivity is a really essential part of improving your consistency and follow through. And if you don't, you're likely going to struggle much more than you need to. And you need to really dig deep here, for real. Okay, this is not just some coachy fluff. That's really not my style. This is rooted in science. So if you can understand, again, really briefly, the brain chemical dopamine is the neurotransmitter that's responsible for feelings of motivation, feelings of reinforcement, and feelings of reward. And we all know that dopamine is a chemical that's released and processed insufficiently in people with ADHD. And it's tough to improve productivity when you're lacking motivation, right? So we need to do things to help us with that dopamine, to help us give ourselves boosts of dopamine. So for those things that are not interesting or are a struggle for us to take action on, a little shot of motivation, a little shot of dopamine is going to make that stuff much easier. So scientists know that the release of dopamine increases feelings of motivation and reward. So getting in touch with those deeper reasons for doing what you need to do can literally give you that dopamine boost that you need to keep going. So dig deep at your reason for what you need or what you intend to do, Do you work to provide safety, or do you work to provide opportunity and security for your family? Do you want to keep your home in order so that you can enjoy connecting with family or friends there? Do you want to grow a business so that you can make a difference in the lives of others? Do you want to find the emotional connection with people deeper? So I want you to find that deeper reason, your really deep, personal, motivating reason for the things that you need to do, those things that you need to do to be productive consistently, and then look for creative ways to keep those deeper reasons in front of you, right? I want you to find an image online that reminds you of the feeling you get when you feel competent or gratified by helping someone else, or by connecting more deeply with your friends or family, or the security that you're looking for, or financial freedom, whatever it is. Find an image or make it the wallpaper on your computer. Make it your background. Put a picture of a loved one on your desk to remind you of why you do what you do and why you need to do those small tasks that are so difficult for us, or those mundane things that are so difficult for us, to really be truly productive and consistent. Write a meaningful phrase on your mirror with wipe off marker, or have that phrase come up as the label on your phone or your device as a reminder at different times of day. So get creative. Try to think of different ways to keep your deeper reason in front of you. And I'd love them if you can share them with me. You can share them with me in the chat. You can contact me through my website and share them with me there. Your ideas will spark some, brilliant idea in someone else's well, and can be really helpful. So thanks for taking the time to watch my video. Again, I'm Coach Lynne Edris. You can learn more about me and what I do and the programs and services I offer at my website. It's www.coachingaddvantages.com, coachingadvantages with 2 Ds.com. And sign up for the free virtual goodie bag in the expo hall. Don't forget to do that if you haven't done it yet. And come and meet me in the chat room. I'm looking forward to getting to know you and answering any questions I can and supporting you in any way that would be helpful. So thanks again for watching, and enjoy the rest of the expo. Take care. Bye-bye.